a non-governmental organization based in Nairobi with field presence in arid and semi-arid lands of the country. So semi-arid lands, the ASALs, are where the pastoral livelihoods and animal welfare are the most tightly bound together. So from my introduction to this organization, the only line I want to leave this slide with is our mission statement. We place African interests at the center of animal welfare, and this is not a slogan. It shapes everything from programs we run, how we talk to farmers. So in our own activities at Utunzi, we tend not to import. We tend not to import outside concepts in terms of animal welfare to the context of our own country and the continent at large. We work across all three domains, on farmed animals, companion animals, and wild animals, because in the communities we serve, these categories aren't as separate as the policy document. A pastoralist household well-being depends on livestock welfare. A peri-urban community's public health depends on companion animal welfare, donkeys, camels, horses. And then conservation areas depend on human wildlife coexistence. So Africa being a center or a venue for tourism, we have a lot of wild animal presence. Then the harmonious coexistence between these wild animals and humans is also a major priority to us. So we have 3+ years in on ground doing impact as Utunzi Africa. And we have garnered some strong lessons for during our day-to-day activities, as well as the projects we implement across across the country and the region as well. Yes. So what does an implementing organization need to be in this conversation, and why now? So forces are converging. And the first one is the growth pressure. As population and demand for animal protein rise, production systems are intensifying. And they're intensifying faster than animal welfare safeguards can keep up. Just as a simple example I can give is the industrial farming on layer hens, or most of our farmers are going into battery cage farming, not factoring in the aspect of the welfare of the birds in the cages, which I will later handle a bit in my section, in my presentation. The second is the fragmented enforcement. In Kenya, we already have a Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act. The legal foundation exists. What is missing in many countries is the capacity, budget, and coordination to actually enforce it.
Check. 1, 2, 1.
Disease surveillance, inspection standards, and compliance are still an issue. If it is not in that space that handles this, nobody is going to handle this. This is a policy system gap, and not a knowledge gap. We are already knowledgeable. And now the third, and this one I'd ask this ethology audience to sit with, is the climate shock in ourselves. For pastoralist households, animal welfare and human welfare are in the same equation. A drought that stresses livestock physiologically also strips a family of its economic, how can I put this? Like the economic thing most of our communities do for gain, we found that it majorly depends on let's say the companion animals. In Kenya, we have a lot of communities depending entirely on donkeys for transport of goods from farms to the markets. So if these animals are stressed, the livelihood of this family is going to be at danger. Now, because this whole operating model exists in the space between these three pressures that are mentioned, that is on the growth pressure, fragmented enforcement, and climate shock. We work on immediate welfare emergencies while also trying to address systemic upstream drivers of vulnerability. That dual focus is what the next few slides of my presentation will walk you through. Next slide. Thank you. So our theory of change rests on the four program pillars, and I want to be explicit that none of them work in isolation. They are designed to reinforce each other. So I'll begin with the student seminars. Student seminars are our education pillar. We do have interactive sessions with students and youths, or other projects like to call these youths young people. This is deliberate. Shifting norms is far easier before they have been hardened into adult practice. A youth become multiply within their own household. So growing up in my country, you are taught about your rights, human rights, but you are never taught about animal welfare and freedoms. So we tend to enforce something you grow up with is something that is probably will stick with you, and even when you are an adult. So we try to make sure that students and the young people grow up with this number one pillar. Number two, we have response programs. These are our emergency pillar. Rapid relief in severely affected areas like disease outbreaks, drought-related distress, disaster response paired with a long-term recovery plan. We are not just treating the symptoms. So for example, in Kenya, we had a tragedy sometimes back where there was a very big landslide, Elgeyo Marakwet County. Utunzi and our team went to ground to try intervene on behalf of animals. As others were intervening for humanitarian purposes, we went to intervene for animal welfare purposes. Now, we did a number of activities that I will not go through here due to time, but are available through our website. Now, number three is corporate outreach. Corporate outreach is our partnership pillar, working directly with companies, producers, retailers, and aggregators, especially for eggs, to integrate welfare into business operations. This is indicative in our cage-free egg transition work, which I will show you shortly. That we have done on an extensive scale with the coordination of other animal welfare organizations across Kenya and across Africa at large. We also have media advocacy. This is our awareness pillar. Use audio and visual platforms to shift the public narrative at scale, well beyond the household we can reach directly. Education changes minds early, and the responsible addresses acute suffering, and corporate outreach changes the system. The media multiplies all the three pillars. So that's the logic. So now let me show you where this sits inside our formal strategic plan. Next slide. Thank you. So this is our formal strategic architecture for 2026 to 2030. And the four pillars on the previous slides feed directly into these 5 outcomes. So outcome 1 on government policy, government capacity and policy, is where we invest in the enforcement gap mentioned earlier, laws and regulations. So we are trying to coordinate with the county governments to at least develop and adopt their own customized animal welfare standards. Nakuru County, which we are in right now, have made the bold step of having their own Animal Welfare Act, and have incorporated it into their day-to-day activities. That's a big step by a county government, and we congratulate the county government for that. Other counties to follow said this will be a great positive movement direction that we are working towards as a country. Outcome 2 on behaviors and norms is where our education and community works lives, and notably we found youth and local leaders to be far more effective messengers that we are as an outside NGO. When you use people entrusted by this community and localities, your message tends to be uptaken better. And then number 3, we have transformed food systems is our production system work, certification schemes, cage-free poultry, humane aquaculture, and connecting compliant producers to export markets where welfare standards are often market and daily requirement, not just an ethical preferences. So due to this certification, we tend to make sure our farmers, they don't lose the markets because of lack of knowledge. And then we have outcome 4 on household resilience in households. This is where climate and welfare converge most directly. Mobile veterinary services, vaccination campaigns, emergency response for pastoralist communities. You find that in these areas, there is a scarcity of, let me collectively call it veterinary healthcare. So when as an organization we go to these areas, maybe to intervene due to excessive drought, now we have to incorporate all these aspects into our intervention. You give feeds, you treat the animals, you also train, we call them the community animal health workers or CDRs. You train them on basic care, just so when there's a need and the vet is not close by, or the county government vet services is not easily accessible, they at least can help in the situation before more intense care comes in. And then we have outcome number 5 on organizational capacity in this is the longest but essential one. Without governance, finance and staff systems that can scale, none of this of the rest is sustainable. We'll just be doing nothing. So running through all these 5, gender equality, youth as agent of change, and climate resilience are not as separate in this program. They are embedded design principles across everything we do at Utunzi Africa. So in the next 4 slides, I will try give you concrete on-ground pictures of the 4 outcomes that I have talked about. So next slide. Thank you. So let me go through case by case, like 4 cases. So case 1, we have, I want to walk you through each one that maps directly onto the conference's sub-theme, because I think that's the most useful way for me to hand this back to your research agenda. So the case 1 is on system transformation, which speaks to your sub-theme on animal behavior, welfare, and environmental interaction in sustainable production. Our flagship example is on cage-free egg transition. So rather than starting with an advocacy campaign, we started with stakeholder alignment workshop, bringing farmers from Nairobi and surrounding counties into the same room and working them through core realities of transition together at cost. We appeal to these farmers. We show them how birds, the layer hens, are suffering inside battery cage system of farming, all the freedoms denied. Now, after they have seen this for themselves, now they can choose transition to better systems of farming. Also to the hotels, after they have seen how the birds are suffering, and now that we are living in a world where people are starting to get more involved in knowing what they're eating is coming from. So they tend to develop their own internal policies, and they do what we call making a commitment. For example, in Kenya, most of the major hotels are now making commitments that by a certain year, most are saying 2030, they will not be sourcing eggs from a battery cage system. of farming. So at least it's as one step towards achieving a cage-free future where the birds can be raised without suffering inside the cages, but instead they use the alternative systems of farming. So we are running a parallel track on humane aquaculture. It is something, a field that we have not ventured in much as a country, but aquaculture also, as I have their own issues in when it comes to welfare, and I want to call upon all the students across Africa. You guys tend to be the guys who most help in encouraging more on animal welfare. So in Kenya, we are working with the Maseno University to launch a fish welfare program. So this will ensure that the fish farming, nowadays there's cage system of fish farming, excessive use of antibiotics and all the other issues related to fish farming. So it's a discussion we can pick up, not just as a organization, but as the entire country and the entire continent at large. So none of this happens on our technical knowledge alone. We lean heavily on partners like the Open Wing Alliance, Aquatic Animal Alliance for Welfare Sciences, and keeping our certification standard. That's exactly the kind of researcher practitioner bridge I'd like to strengthen through this conference. So the takeaway underline for this audience: farmers don't resist welfare. They resist welfare with no transition plan. So ethology research that comes with implementation pathways attached travels much further than research alone. Next slide, please. So this is a case 2 that speaks to your subtheme on evidence-based policy and regulatory systems, and it's honestly the outcome where I think this room can help us more directly. Now, Kenya has a real legal foundation, the Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Acts. What is inconsistent is the machinery underneath it. We have county-level inspection capacity, enforcement budgets, and disease surveillance system. Rather than campaigning for new legislations, our focus has been strengthening the institutions that already have the mandate, working alongside bodies like the Kenya Veterinary Board and the Directorate of Veterinary Services in the country. So where I'd like to make a direct ask is on the policy conversations that move faster and further when they are backed by locally generated, peer-reviewed welfare evidence rather than imported standards and anecdotes. So applied ethology research on species-to-species behavior indicators validated in an African production and pastoralist context. This is exactly the evidence base that gives our policy advocacy credibility with regulations and legislators. Someone wants to see what has happened, what has worked within their own context, but not somewhere else. So in line to this, I want you to remember here is policy without capacity is just a document, and capacity without evidence is basically guesswork. So we need both. I believe the research community and implementation community working from the same evidence base. Next slide. So case 3 on community-centered behavior change. Our student seminar programs is the entry point, interactive sessions with students and not one-off lectures. Treat young people as durable change agents. These are our future change makers. They take what they learn home and household level norms shift generationally. So the most structurally important choice is who delivers the message. We work deliberately through the youth and the local leaders, which are the voices the communities actually trust, rather than positioning Upunzi as an outside authority. In practice, this has meant slower initial rollout because we invest time, relationship building in these messages before any contents go out. So the lesson from this room, durable behavior change in animal welfare is fundamentally a social process embedded in our local culture and existing trust networks. It's not the same, it's not something you just broadcast or something you cultivate through false pretense, but it's something you cultivate through the right messages, because the messenger matters just as much as the message. Next slide. On climate resilience in households, the post-release households in households, climate shocks, drought cycles, and increasing flash floods hits animals and households simultaneously. A livestock population under heat and water stress is also households' entire economical and nutritional base under stress. At the same time, without no buffer between the two. So you guys find this, when it comes, the families suffer, the animals suffer. So our response is deliberately integrated. Like I said, we do mobile veterinary services. We reach herds that fixed clinics can't. So, which means you have to move through difficult terrains across the areas that have been affected. Vaccination campaigns that reduce disease burdens ahead of stress events rather than reactivating them. So this is also why climate resilience is just an outcome or in our plan. It's a cross-cutting design principle across every program, from how we schedule student seminars around seasonal calendars and how we structure our corporate partnerships. I'd be genuinely interested in this community physiological stress indicator research as we refine how we monitor and time our field interventions. Next slide, please. So none of this work I've just walked you through happens in isolation, and I want to be transparent about it. It's called how we operate. Now, on the food system side, the Open Wing Alliance, these are an umbrella for many organizations across Africa that works with the main goal of getting the layer hens out of battery cages. And the Aquatic Animal Alliance on ground, our poultry and aquaculture standards is in current welfare science. The Human League, which is the major donor for the Open Wing Alliance, and Animal Advocacy Africa, they bring the corporate engagement expertise. So among these organizations, some are donors and some are just partners we work with. So Center for Effective Altruism is also part of a donor. Animal Advocacy Africa, these are works across Africa, training young advocates and a number of other advocacy work activities that they do. All these people are available online. You can find the website, walk through it. Kenya Veterinary Board is our board within the country that regulates the vets. We have Animal Welfare League. Animal Welfare League is based in Ghana. It's our partner. We have worked a lot with them on helping get the birds out of cage-free, the battery cages. Working Animal Internationals, formerly SPANA, is also a donor that have really supported the work on working animals, especially the donkey and camels in some of the counties in Kenya, Baringo, Turkana, and West Pokot, and also Elgeyo Marakwet. We have SAFSO, this is based in South Africa. We also collaborate in doing the work on cage-free campaigns, as well as other animal welfare interventions. So I'm doing all this deliberately because I think the conference is exactly the kind of space where the next set of partnerships, particularly with applied ethology research groups, should be forming. We have the field access and implementation experience. So many of you have the measurement rigor and behavioral science depth. So neither half is sufficient alone. Next slide. So what are we learning from the field? First, evidence needs enforcement. Excellent welfare research changes very little if the regulatory capacity to act on it isn't there. So we need research agendas and policy strengthening work to move together and not sequentially. Second, trusted messengers move faster than outside campaigns. This is why we target the students, the local leaders, because they are trusted within their localities. Third, welfare and climate are inseparable in contexts like assaults. So any stress physiologically or resilience research that treats animal welfare and human livelihood as separate variable is missing half of the picture on the ground. And then lastly, markets can align with welfare. For example, the egg industry, the market of egg is already starting to take shape. They are aligning with the, let's call it hen welfare. Just as many bigger hotels have started the commitment movement that from this time to this time I will not be sourcing eggs from battery cage system. This is a wave that will come down to farmers, the producers, and they will stop producing eggs in battery cages just to adhere to the market wave. So I genuinely welcome this being a starting point for dialogue rather than a closing statement. So these are field lessons, not settled science, and that I suspect several of you have evidence that will sharpen or challenge them now that we are a room full of researchers. Next slide, please. So what this specific community is, this room is this week. 4 concrete things. First, joint research on behavioral welfare indicators that are actually validated in an African farming and pastoralist system. Second, technical mentorship for our field and monitoring teams. We have field access and the community trust would benefit enormously from a closer partnership with the people whose day-to-day rigorous behavior measurement. And third, welfare and claim. Third, I'd ask also for shared evidence to strengthen our policy advocacy, as well as co-design studies. So, next slide. Well, that's there. Thank you for the ISAE and the organizing committee for this platform. So Utunzi's whole reason for being in this room is the belief that the gap between behavioral science and welfare outcomes on the ground is a gap this community and organization like ours can close together. So I thank you again, and I'm happy to take questions.
Thank you so much for your presentation. So I hand over to the moderator, Samuel.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for that presentation. We will go straight ahead in the interest of time and get some questions from our physical audience. Any questions from the physical audience? Maybe I can start off and ask Stephen, how much has behavior and our understanding of animal behavior influenced your advocacy for animal welfare, especially from the projects that you have conducted? How much of that is informed by our knowledge of behavior? Maybe we can take another question from the audience, physical audience. Anybody? Yes. Come here. Yeah. Yes.
Good morning. My name is. Okay. Yeah. Good morning. My name is Ashley. I'm a veterinarian by profession. My question is, how effective is this program? Because in areas where I live, I see people still harassing the donkeys. So how are we gonna bridge that?
Okay, thank you for the two very important questions. If I'd begin with the question on how much have the animal behavior So on the question on the animal behavior, first of all, working on ground with farmers, most of them actually, let me use the example of the layabirds and their behaviors. So most of these farmers, they actually don't know the natural behaviors of these animals. That's why they don't see the battery cages as a system that is undermining the welfare of the birds. So first we have to tell them about the natural behaviors, and then we have to show them physically how, if these behaviors are denied, or if the bird is not is not depicting these behaviors, how their welfare is being affected. So it's not really an easy task telling these farmers what you think they should know. And that's why we started using the approach of going with the local leaders and students from their areas so that they can well take in the message. Now, there's also the question on how the impact really, because we have given an example of you still seeing people undermining the donkey welfare. So this is a field that really needs awareness and sensitization, and I mean serious awareness and sensitization. Let me give an example. I was in Elgeyo Marakwet during the landslide tragedy that happened. Most of you in Kenya knows about it. And then you will go to a village, and they will first question, they will ask you, you treat donkeys? Do they really need treatment? Like, they don't know that donkeys can also be given treatment. So if someone doesn't really know that donkey also needs healthcare, it means they probably don't even know one freedom or freedom for the donkey. So you start by enlightening them. You tell them about all the animal welfare freedoms that there is that they should know. You tell them how proper handling these donkeys can increase their own economic income, because they use these donkeys a lot, and that's a fact. So after you enlighten them on how taking good care and maintaining good welfare standards for the animals can impact the economic gain, now they start to accept the message. Yeah. So in areas where this awareness has not been done, it is true, you will find these guys still undermining the welfare of the donkeys. But in most areas where this has been done, and in Kenya we have done a lot, not just as Utunzi, but as many other organizations, it's taking, the message is now starting to take up, and we are starting to see real changes on the ground level. Thank you.
Thank you. I think in the interest of time, we'll take another one question. Or
we have one or two online as well. So
then
we still have 7 minutes though, but we have 2 online here.
All right.
So I was wondering, as an organization, well, my name is Ava. I'm a vet student in Egerton. I was wondering, as an organization, you create awareness. So after creating awareness, if you see something, what are the proper channels? Because I've seen some people get wild animals like wild birds, kanga, and they sell them in the streets. And they're not carrying them in the best way. So what do? You see that?
Another question from the physical audience. Okay, that's better. Any other question from the physical audience? Okay, if none, maybe you can respond.
Yes. So we do awareness, and it's true that during your awareness and sensitization process, you will find a lot of, let's call it, cruelty to the animals going on. Yeah. So like I had said earlier, we work closely with government entities. For example, the Kenya Veterinary Board, the Directorate of Veterinary Services, and especially we tend to localize this at county level. So in such cases, we find a scenario where someone has just taken an animal, a wild animal, outside its normal habitat. We what we do first is inform the Directorate of Veterinary Services, the DVS for the specific county. Now the DVS is the one now that follows up because they have the authority now to enforce the Prevention of Cruelty to Animal Act. So they escalate the matter to the next channels, because as we cannot go to the person and tell them just this is wrong, we are going to arrest you or do anything like that. We don't have the authority. Yeah, we are just like the eyes and ears of the government sailor at the ground. Thank you.
Maybe I can also have a follow-up question. Would you comment, especially from your experience with engaging college and university students, in terms of our training on ethology and animal behavior? What is your experience, especially interacting with their curriculum? Do we ground our students well enough in areas of behavior and ethology? And what are the gaps or classes that you have identified?
Thank you, Dr. again for the question. So yes, in the country, now that I also went through the same system, yes, you cover the basis well. The unit is called Animal Welfare, Ethics and Laws, if I'm not wrong. Now, the only bit that needs to be included is now getting real experience, real hands-on experience for these students. For example, I think if I were the curriculum developer for this unit, Animal Welfare, Ethics and Laws, I'd include the aspect of inviting the animal welfare organizations that actually do the awareness and sensitization at ground level, so that this can form part of maybe the practical hours for that specific unit. It will give the students more experience, hands-on experience, when now they are out in the world maneuvering by themselves. Yeah.
Thank you. Go to Dr. Yasere.
Okay, thank you so much. There are quite a number of questions here. Thank you so much, Dr. Stephen, for your question. I want you to be as brief as possible, please. Here, let me take, what are the validated behavioral parameters to recommend for donkey welfare assessments? Please be brief about it.
Okay, thank you for the question. Now, the validated donkey parameters, now this is something we are still developing as an organization. Actually, it's a conglomeration of organizations in the country, because we are working on a manual that will go to now this institution, the universities, to be used by the students during welfare assessment implications on donkey, actually equines as a whole. We are doing it for donkey, camels, and horses. So I will not really give you the specifics for now, but this is something that is going to be available in our website in the next 2 weeks. So I'd encourage you to visit our website in 2 weeks' time, get the document on now the parameters, because it's a whole document that is still under development and review.
All right, thank you. That question was from Chirag Simao. And this one now is from Richard Ashante. He wants to know about the welfare implications of raising rabbits in cages.
Yes, welfare implications of raising rabbit in cages. Just like I had said, all animals have freedoms. So there's this specific freedom, a freedom to express normal behavior. Normal behaviors will mean that an animal, first of all, needs space to express their behaviors. And I don't know if I know all the behaviors of rabbits, but I know a few, like natural mating is also a normal behavior, right? Now, if just like we do it in the better cage systems, when the birds cannot perch, they cannot dust bathe, and they cannot do all that, the rabbits also need to nest. They need to have, there are a number of the natural behaviors they need to practice out of, which they will not do while they're in cages. So letting them out of cages and giving them space helps them meet their freedom requirement for freedom to express natural behaviors, plus all the other 4 remaining freedoms that will still be affected at some point by raising them in cages.
Okay, so let me just take the last one and also be brief about it. It's from Obi Richard, and it's about the welfare concerns regarding battery cages. He's asking, is it only the issue related to overcrowding, or the cage system itself is inherently problematic? What is the main concern with the use of cages? Yeah.
Yes, the use of cages, there's a whole lot number of problems. Beginning with overcrowding, you find okay, I'm using the context of our country because this was what I'm most familiar with. You find the size of the cage is like an A4 sheet of paper, but then you find almost 3 to 4 birds are placed inside that cages. You find this bird cannot even turn around, they cannot perch, definitely they cannot dust bathe. They will start vices like pecking on each other. There are a whole lot of issues that are associated with the battery cages. Now, the easiest way to explain those issues is to go step by step using the 5 animal freedoms, but due to time factor, in a nutshell, it's the fact that the major issue is the space. The birds need space to carry out their natural behaviors. So cages does not permit that.
Wow, thank you so much for the interesting talk. It's quite eye-opening with a lot of insight for us to go home with. And also, there are still some questions. So if you don't mind, Dr. Stephen, if you find yourself to the Zoom room, I would love you to also check the chat, and also you can answer the questions as well in the chat. Thank you so much. So due to time, a round of applause for Dr. Stephen, virtually and in person, a round of applause for him. And now we need to move to the panel discussion. And the moderator for the panel discussion is Mr. Abdulrahman Safian from Ghana. So I hand over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you very much. Please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear from Ghana.
Loud and clear, yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll go straight to action. The panel discussion is going to feature Dr. Just a minute. Let me get Kenya. No, there's Dr. Caleb Orengi from Kenya Veterinary Board, and Mr. Where is my Ebenezer Azasu from Ghana. Just a minute, let me get this.
I think the panelists should use the raise of hand button so that I know the room they are and I can unmute them, please.
Okay.
All right.
I'm currently sitting with Mr. Ebenezer Azasu,
okay,
Central Regional Director of Agriculture, Ghana. Then we have Dr. Caleb Orengi from Kenya. Dr. Caleb Orengi from Kenya, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Gerhard Schultz, Livestock Welfare Coordinating Committee, South Africa. Are you there?
I'm here, thank you very much.
Mr. Gerhard from South Africa? Right, you are there. Thank you very much. Can we hear you?
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can.
Then
I'm here, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Then we have Dr. Emmanuel Osayomi, Director of Veterinary Services, Egerton State, from Nigeria. Please, can we hear you?
Thank you very much. Good morning, sir, and good morning to every participant.
Unmute for him. All right.
Thank you very much. You're all welcome, my panelists. And so we are going to have 5 minutes each for each panelist. Then the next 20 minutes we will have questions and answers from our panel. So I first of all invite Mr. Ebenezer Asasu from Ghana to make his presentation. Really quick one, 5 minutes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, yes. It is a great honor to be invited to this African Regional Conference of the International Society of Applied Ethology, organized in collaboration with the Department of Animal Science of the University of Cape Coast. On behalf of the Central Regional Department of Agriculture, I wish to express my sincere appreciation to the organizers for this invitation, for the opportunity to share a few reflections on animal welfare policies and legislation in Ghana. I commend the organizers for the choice of the conference theme: Behavior to Welfare, Driving Innovation and Inclusive Animal Ethology in Africa. This is timely and important theme because it challenges us to move beyond simply asking how animals produce and ask the equally important question: how do animals behave? What does their behavior tell us about their physical and psychological state? And how do our systems of production, transportation, marketing, and slaughter affect their welfare? Most importantly, the team challenges us to consider how science, policy, and legislation can translate our understanding of animal behavior into better welfare outcomes and ultimately into tangible benefits of food security, farmer livelihoods, public health, food safety, and economic development. Ghana has important legal provisions relating to animals, but we do not yet have a comprehensive stand-alone welfare law. The current framework rests largely on the Criminal Offences Act 1960, and specifically we look at section 303, which addresses unnecessary pain and suffering. We also have the Diseases of Animals Act 1961, and also have Public Health Act 2012, as well as legislation relating to wildlife. The Public Health Act provides for slaughterhouse requirements and veterinary meat inspection, linking animal handling and slaughter directly to public health and food safety. These provisions provide an important foundation. However, significant gaps remain, particularly in areas involving intensive livestock production, commercial poultry production, stocking density, transportation, and slaughter. Having laws that prohibit cruelty is not the same as having a comprehensive animal welfare system. A comprehensive welfare system should go beyond prohibiting cruelty. It should also define and promote good husbandry practices. We should therefore establish clear minimum standards for housing, nutrition, access to water, transportation, animal handling, veterinary care, and slaughter. The objective should be to create a system in which animal welfare is considered throughout the entire production system. We do not have a standardized, stand-alone law, but what I will recommend for Ghana is that we should be able to develop a comprehensive welfare act. It's very crucial. And also develop a national animal welfare strategy, an action plan, and build veterinary extension capacity to be able to take our welfare programs and issues to the stakeholders of the country also invest in research and data, and also train all relevant actors and promote public awareness. I know there are a lot of areas, a lot of people, consumers, who do not even know that there is anything about welfare, how to treat animals. So in my opening remark, this is what I will have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sazu. We will now go on to Kenya, to Dr. Caleb Orenge.
Thank you very much. To start us off, I think one of the main challenges that we have as a country, and I think to all of us in the whole world, is to increase food production. At the same time, trying to improve or ensure good animal welfare, and at the same time protecting food security and safety. That is a very important intersection, and needs a very delicate balance between production, increasing food production, at the same time improving, ensuring good animal welfare, and protecting food security and safety. With regard to that, animal welfare issues, we can say there's some progress, quite some progress, although we are not where we are supposed to be. But as a country, we have legislation and policies which guides on animal welfare. For example, we've been having the historical prevention of cruelty to animals in this country, that is under Cap 360. We also have Animal Diseases Act, Cap 364. And recently, we have Veterinary Surgeons and Veterinary Paraprofessionals Act of 2012, which basically guides on veterinary standards for animal treatment. And of importance is that it restricts any such procedures on animals to be done by the licensed personnel, the vets. Those are some of the legislation that we have. As you can see, the prevention of cruelty to animals is a very old registration, but we have the current one, the Veterinary Surgeons and the Veterinary Professionals Act, which has been revised and improved. We also have guiding policies, and we have basically two policies. Number one, we have the Kenya Vet Policy, which is on sessional paper number 2 of 2020. This policy focuses on animal health and welfare, at the same time posting food security and safety, and that's public health. That underscores my opening statement on the challenge that we have. We also have the National Livestock Policy, sessional paper number 3 of 2020, which also guides on sustainable livestock production and also incorporates better animal welfare practices. Now, like I said, there is some progress. So what are some of the new and new policies that are being updated? Number one, we have Animal Welfare and Protection Bill of 2024. It is at the stage of the bill. This bill recognizes animals as sentient beings. That is, they have the capacity to decipher suffering like pain, and also exhibit emotions, exhibit normal behaviors. This bill also mandates stunning as mandatory before slaughter to inculcate humane treatment of animals. This bill also establishes national and county animal welfare advisory committees, and also envisages to appoint or to increase the number of inspectors. Number two, we also have the livestock bill. It also seeks to introduce updated legislation and licensing of farm animals with the explicit emphasis on farm animal guidelines. So that is our journey as a country, where we started from regarding animal welfare and where we are going, with a focus and the emphasis of the intersection that I talked about, increasing food animal production, improving animal welfare, and also ensuring that we are food secure, and also take.
Dr. Caleb, you may want to wrap up. You are with a minute.
So that's what I wanted to share for now. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. Mr. Gerard, are you around? From South Africa.
Kindly unmute.
South Africa, can we hear you? Mr. Gerhard?
Kindly unmute from South Africa.
Unmute, yes. Unmute yourself.
Just hold on. Just a minute for them. Okay, good.
Can you hear me now?
Good.
Yes,
thank you very much. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm not a senior government official involved in legislation. I'm from the Livestock Welfare Coordinating Committee of South Africa, and I always say we create a tent where everybody can discuss welfare issues, and we are very proud of our members. I will quickly try and explain who we are, the background, the capacity, our members, our vision, mission, objectives, and also a few projects. The Livestock Welfare Coordinating Committee is an independent, industry-driven, multi-stakeholder forum, and we've been in existence since 1978. Our capacity is not very big. We've got a chairman, a vice chairman, an administrator, a secretary, an audit committee, a webmaster, and we have quarterly meetings with all our members. Now, I always say we are very proud of our members, and looking at the industry, our producer members is from the dairy industry, the wool industry, the red meat industry, the feedlot association, the mohair growers, the ostrich industry, the crocodile industry, and also stock. And government side, we are very proud that we have all the government departments that are relevant within our organization, the Department of Agriculture, the South African Bureau of Standards, and also the South African Police Services. Then we also have industry stakeholders like the Federation of Meat Traders, the Red Meat Abattoir Association, and also the auctioneers. And then, very important, our professional members and academia from the University of Pretoria, the Honors de Poort Biological Products, then also the Veterinary Association, very proud of that, and also the vets organization that are involved in livestock, and the Agricultural Research Council. And then, very important, our welfare organizations, LAVA, Humane World for Animals, Coalition of African Animal Welfare Organizations, 4 PAWS, and then an independent chairman who at this stage is me. Our vision is to be a leading authority on livestock welfare in South Africa. Our mission is to enhance projects, livestock welfare through collaboration, education, research, advocacy, and also comment on legislation. And I think this is very important, where all the stakeholders can have an in-depth discussion on possible new legislation and also comment on legislation. Our objectives, I've prepared a full presentation. I suppose it will be available on email. So I'm not going to go into the objectives. I'm going to refer to a few projects, update codes of practice. We are very involved in that, and we turn the codes over to standards within the South African Bureau of Standards. We're looking at new codes, we review existing codes, and then we also look at possible recognition systems where we can recognize farmers that do the right thing, training material, statements, expert opinions. We look at research needs, advocacy with government, and very, very important, liaise on legislation. And that is more or less what we are busy with at this stage. To conclude, thank you very much. If you ask me, there are 3 issues that we can further discuss. I'm of the opinion that self-regulation is vital, industry involvement is vital, and in South Africa, as you all know, we have a big foot and mouth outbreak at this stage. We need a SOP on animal welfare when it comes to animal welfare. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Gerhard. Stand by for questions. Dr. Emmanuel Oyasimi.
Good morning, sir.
Go on, sir. We can hear you. Go on, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My contribution in panel discussion here on animal welfare policy and legislation in Africa, Nigeria context. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to participate in this important discussion. I'm particularly pleased that the International Society for Applied Ethology has themed this conference around behavior to welfare, driving innovative and inclusive animal ethology in Africa. Well, our panel discussion is on animal welfare policies and legislation in Africa, Nigeria context. Well, this one is timely because animal welfare can no longer be treated as an optional consideration in livestock production. It is connected to animal health, public health, food safety, productivity, economics, and and ultimately the well-being of humans. My perspective comes largely from several decades of veterinary practice and public service, particularly my experience as Director of Veterinary Services in Ekiti State, Nigeria, where I had responsibility for veterinary clinical services, disease surveillance, vaccination, diagnostic services, slaughter and abattoir supervision, meat inspection, and veterinary public health across several veterinary stations. From the experience, I would like to make 5 practical observations, though there might not be time to expatiate on them. But number 1 is that animal welfare legislation must move from paper to everyday practice. Number 2, veterinary public health and animal welfare, they are inseparable. Number 3, we must know that prevention is better than reacting to suffering. Number 4, education and enforcement must go hand in hand. They must go together. And number 5, Nigeria needs stronger collaboration and implementation. Well, for sake of time, what should be the take-home for the participants of this program? From my years of public veterinary service, I will summarize the way forward in 5 words. I target prevention, education, collaboration, enforcement, and accountability. And we see that if we can implement these things, our animal welfare practices will improve in Africa. I believe Africa has opportunity to develop animal welfare system that reflect both international best practice and Africa realities. Our objectives should not simply be to crop legislation or copy legislation from elsewhere. We should develop practical systems that recognize our production methods, our livestock market, cultural realities, economic circumstances, and institutional capability or capacities, while maintaining the fundamental principle that animals under human care should be protected from unnecessary pain, suffering, disease, and distress. My professional experience has taught me that animal welfare is not an abstract concept. It has been. I have been in these in the clinics, in vaccination programs, in disease surveillance, in livestock markets, and especially in abattoirs. When we improve the welfare of animals, we improve animal health, productivity, food security and food safety, public health, and the sustainability of our livestock sector. And that in my own view, is why stronger animal welfare policy and effective implementation should be regarded not merely as a veterinary responsibility, but as a matter of importance. There should be component involvement in Africa's sustainability and development agenda. Thank you very much for listening. Good morning.
Please, thank you so much, sir, for that insightful presentation. So, moderator.
All right. Thank you very much. We go straight to the questions. From the foregoing, we realize that almost all the countries have a bit of policies on animal welfare, but not explicit legislation. What do you think should be done in terms of contributions from academia, animal welfare organizations, and government to come out with legislations in order for animal welfare to improve in Africa? I'll start with Mr. Asazu from Ghana.
Yeah, thank you very much. Like you rightly said, we have legislations, but they are not together. They are in different areas. So it's not put together. So everybody does different things. We take for instance, before you move your animal from whichever location, you are supposed to get a pass from the veterinary offices. But in this country, there are a lot of people who move animals without any pass. And the problem is the allocation. Certain time they will tell you where they are located is so, very far away from where they can get a veterinary officer to certify their animals. So I think that we need to have a lot of education. We need education, we need training of our extension officers who will go and let people know. And in Ghana, I know there are a lot of people who do not even know anything about welfare of animals. They don't even know anything. So they do anything that they want, they do whatever thing that they want. So I think for us to be able to bring everything together, there should be one standalone legislation so that we'll be able to educate our citizenry about what they are supposed to know and what they are supposed to do. If we talk about welfare in this country, we have a lot of people who are rearing their animals on free range. You see them by the street, there's no one taking care of them. Some of them, you see them knocked down by vehicles. And some are even a threat to, those who are driving. You can easily get an accident on the road because you see them moving just like that, nobody helping them. And when it comes to feeding, some think that the only thing to do is to just get the animal. But how the animal gets food to eat, that one is no concern to anybody. So it is a big issue. Because if you want to start something like that, you should be ready to take responsibility. You should be ready to get housing for them and give them the best of welfare. Some of them, they get sick and nobody to help. And even the transporters. Today, when I was coming to this conference, we have articulated trucks that transport cattle. And can you imagine a cattle can be standing for days because they are transporting them from the north to the south. Nowhere can they even lie down and relax and do. No, they will stand for days. And they are feeding, they will just get them some small grasses here and there. So we have a big issue about welfare. And I think we have to, maybe with the help of academia, we should be able to come out with a very comprehensive welfare and legislative law together so that we'll be able to implement. Like I was talking about the offenses, that is the law that has to do with criminal offenses. Yeah, and that has to do with cruelty. Since I was born, I've never seen anybody who have been taken to maybe the police station for treating an animal in a very bad way. So we do it. If you go to the slaughterhouse, nobody cares. Even though we have legislation concerning that one, but nobody is able to enforce. So we need enforcement. We need veterinary coming on board. We need the police people understanding what it takes, what they are supposed to know about welfare, and also the citizens. We need education so that we'll be able to handle our animals very well.
All right. Thank you very much for the extensive explanation of the issue. Dr. Osayomi.
Sorry, before you go,
can we have your take?
Can all the panelists please be on camera, please? Some are missing. We want the panelists from Nigeria and Kenya to be on camera, please. Thank you. You can go on, sir.
All right. Dr. Yame.
Thank you very much, sir. Well, animal welfare policy and legislation in Nigeria, well, we can say we are developing but not yet there. Well, there have been fragmented laws on animal policy or on animal legislation or animal welfare legislation. In 1990, we had a dog law. Some states like Lagos State, they did something on that. In 2004, we have the Animal Disease Control Act. But the most recent Animal Disease Control Act of 2022 is what had done something very significant concerning animal welfare legislation. That act dedicates sections 20 to 26 to animal welfare. Though generally, as we can speak, for Nigeria, there is no standalone animal welfare legislation. But the 2022 Animal Disease Control Act has actually improved what we can do about animal welfare. There you see the legislation, section 20, talking on biosecurity. We see talk on our responsibility to protect animals from any form of cruelty. We have even section 21 of that law actually spoke on animal welfare as our responsibility to make sure that we make the animal good and they are okay, because their health and their good well-being will also determine what will happen to us, even as humans. And we see the preventive aspect, talking of vaccination of rabies, for instance, which is very important as a very important component of animal welfare, which is the preventive aspect. A session spoke on that. So we can say we are developing, we are improving, but we are not yet there. But like I said in my introduction, we must move from paperwork to practice these things that we are discussing, even practically, and make it part of our living. Thank you very much, sir.
Dr. Khalid from Kenya. Yes, please. What is... Oh, yeah. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for your question. Well, I think for us, we have, although the legislation that we have and the policies are not quite updated, but like I said, they are in the process of being updated and to be current. The biggest problems that we have is enforcement. Enforcement of the law, even with the legislation and the policies that we have. So I'm thinking that one of the things that we need to do is to have a continuous sensitization on animal welfare. The stakeholders, the farmers, the animal keepers, the law enforcers, and all of us, academia and everybody else. So this should be a continuous process so that people can be aware of the animal welfare issues. Then the second point is expedition of the registration and the policies. Like I said, in this country we have two very important bills. They need to be expedited so that they become law and then enforced. The third point I want to say is that academia and the researchers also have a role to play. One of the things that normally we see around is that animals, the working animals, are overloaded. So we need the academia to come in and probably innovate or get something like a cat, the one that is able to, so that you match that with the weight of the animal. We know that animals are not supposed to carry more than 10 to 30%, 20 to 30% of their weight. But sometimes you find donkeys carrying several jerrycans of water and they are being wiped to move faster. That's where we need the engineers, the academia to come in and get a carrier, standardized carriers for this animal, so that And in this way, I think we will enhance animal welfare. Is that I think for all of us globally, we have seen there is this gap. And I'm thinking that if all of the countries increased international trade as number one, that could close the gap, increasing of international globalized science, and then put pressure for harmonization of food safety standards. If this are implemented at the international level,
Kenya,
to regulate welfare issues and expedite the process. Did you tell me to stop?
Yes, please. We want to go to South Africa, but they are taking. All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Gerhard, South Africa.
Thank you, Chair.
You have 3 minutes. Okay.
Can I go, Chair?
Yes, please. You may have just 3 minutes.
I agree with everything. Enforcement is a big problem, but we all know that good animal welfare makes economic sense. So I think self-regulation and codes of best practices in the different industries is very important. We can't leave it to government. This is a multi-stakeholder approach. And in South Africa, we have the National Agricultural Marketing Act, where we have levied the different industries to create capacity. And the commercial producers and the emerging producers should take hands, and we should invest in education. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. We are 2 minutes past time, and so I'll just hand over direct to Professor Oluwase.
Oh, that was amazing. A round of applause from the physical venue and online. Thank you so much to our panelists. Mr. Ebenezer Azazu, thank you so much from Ghana. Dr. Michael Sheriot from Kenya, thank you. Mr. Gerhard Schut, thank you from South Africa. And Dr. Osayomi from Ekiti State. God bless you, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful session. And I think one thing that actually stood out is enforcement. I know from everybody, we all learned that we have policies in our different countries, but the enforcement is actually the issue. So we need to see how we can work on that. All right, let's move on to the next presentation. Our moderator, I hope you're ready for us. Dr. Priscilla Komolafe, are you available? We are moving on to the next, that's the second keynote speech. Dr. Priscilla is the moderator, and this keynote will be delivered by Professor Olufemi Mobolaji Alabi. All right, over to you, Dr. Priscilla.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yashere. Yeah. You're welcome, Dr. Alabi. Okay, sir. So I'll be giving the bio of Professor Alabi. So Professor Alabi is a renowned Nigerian scholar in the field of animal science, physiology, and welfare. He is born in Bogon, Osun State, and he obtained his BSc degree in the Department of Animal Science from Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, in 1989. He proceeded for his master's and PhD program at UI at 1997 and 2009 respectively. He studied animal physiology and welfare. His career beautifully combines field experiences and academic leadership. He served at Folawiyo Farms, Ilora from 1992 to 2000. He managed his own poultry farm from 2000 to 2003 and joined Bowen University in April 2003 as the farm manager. Through commitment and scholarship, He rose to become a full professor in the Department of Animal Science and Fishery Management in 2019. Can we applaud him? Beyond the classroom, Professor Alabi has combined immensely to Bowen University. He currently serves as the coordinator of General Studies. He is a member of the University Senate and has chaired many committees. His research addresses critical livestock problems in the tropics, and his major focus now is on animal behavior and welfare. He also works on reproductive physiology of poultry and small ruminants. He has authored numerous publications, which is over 100. Can we give him a round of applause? Yeah. And he has chapters in books as well. Professor Alabi is also a respected member of several professional bodies. You know, Animal Welfare Research Network, Animal Welfare Nigeria, in fact, so many of those professional bodies. So Professor Alabi is also a respected member of several professional bodies in agriculture and animal science, where he continues to advocate for improved animal welfare, sound management practices, and capacity building for students and stakeholders. Professor Alabi is married, happily married, and is here to give us the keynote address. So we welcome Professor Alabi. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank God for the privilege given to me to be here this morning. And I want to appreciate the organizers of this conference. I thank God for answering my prayers of about 21 years ago. In 2005, when I was about to start my PhD, I had nobody to mentor me in the area of animal welfare. And I prayed, God, I want animal welfare and animal ethology to be promoted in Nigeria. Please help us, God. And today, we are here to witness how God has taken us through. And for this year, the theme we are considering is behavior to welfare, driving innovative and inclusive animal ethology in Africa. All along, we have been hearing about animal behavior, animal ethology, innovation, and inclusiveness. And I'm here to enlighten us more on this. Let me say, to refresh us more and to challenge us on the task ahead for us as ethologists and animal welfare scientists. Our journey, as far as this team is concerned, is like we are taking off from the point of behavior, and our destination is welfare. And the vehicle we are boarding consists of innovation and inclusiveness. And who are the drivers? You and I are the drivers and passengers in this vehicle. And we are not just traveling to that destination for fun, but to make sure that livestock production is sustainable for safe consumption by human beings. And I will be talking on what animal ethology is, animal behavior, animal welfare, relationship between animal behavior and ethology and welfare, then innovative animal ethology, inclusive animal ethology, then the challenge ahead for us. Then I will conclude. What is animal ethology? Animal ethology is the scientific study of animal behavior, particularly the natural behavior that animals exhibit in their normal environments, and the biological, ecological, evolutionary, and physiological factors that influence those behaviors, in quote, in their natural, normal environments. What is ethology? Understanding ethology, why animals behave the way they behave. And we have to look at some components in order to understand ethology better. We have to look at their natural behavior. We have to look at the factors that influence behaviors of animals. And what is the goal of animal ethology, then the scientific approach applicable in animal ethology. And ethology seeks to answer the following questions. Number one, why do animals behave the way they do? Number two, how do animals communicate with each other? Number three, how do they find their feed, their mating partner, and where to hide their head, that is their shelter? Number four, how do the animals respond to predators, stress, environmental changes? And lastly, how have these behaviors evolved over time? And the objectives of animal ethology include: one, to describe animal behavior accurately without being biased. Secondly, to explain the causes of behavior, which are influenced by internal and external factors. And number three, to understand how behavior develops during an animal's lifetime. Number four, to determine the evolutionary significance of each behavior and apply behavioral knowledge generated so far to improve animal welfare, conservation, and production. There are 4 questions formulated by a Dutch scientist, Timberjans. I will call it 4 questions of ethology. The first question is causation, the mechanism causing the animals to behave the way they are behaving. Number 2, development, the ontogeny of ethology. How does the behavior develop over the animal's lifetime? Then number 3, functions, the adaptive value of such behavior. How does the behavior improve survival or reproduction of the animals? We are much more interested in this. And number 4, the evolutionary trend, the phylogeny. How did the behavior evolve among related species from one generation to the other? And importantly, ethology is very crucial to us because it improved animal welfare, better livestock productivities, disease detection through behavioral changes, precision livestock farming using behavioral monitoring, wildlife conservation, sustainable livestock production, development of efficient-based welfare policies, and understanding the impact of climate change on animal behavior. We cannot do without this because animals are under the influence of climate changes. Therefore, ethology is the scientific discipline that studies and explains behaviors. In other words, behavior is the issue, is the phenomenon, and ethology is the science that studies it. Let me now take us to the second one, animal behavior. And I want you to be following me sequentially. Animal behavior is the observable actions, reactions, interactions of animals with environment, other animals within that environment, and we human beings. It also includes everything an animal does, from feeding, moving, mating, communicating, and caring for its younger one, to responding to predators, stress, and environmental changes. Animal behavior is everything an animal does and how it responds to the immediate surroundings. I want us to look at the components of animal behavior together. Feeding behavior, social behavior, reproductive behavior, communication behavior. A defensive behavior. How did they run away from their predators? How did they maintain their territorial integrity? Learning behavior, play behavior, resting and sleeping behavior, exploratory behavior, and lastly, stress behavior. And there are so many factors that influence animal behavior. We have internal factors that is within the animal, and then we have the external factors outside the animal. Under internal factors, I have the genetics, hormones, age of the animal, sex of the animal, the health status of the animal, and physiological condition of the animal. All these are classified under internal factors. Then I have external factors like climate and weather, availability of feed for the animal, predators, social interaction among the animals, housing conditions, then human handling, how do we handle our animals, and environmental enrichment. Then why are we interested in studying animal behavior? Why are we interested in studying animal behavior? Number one, it improves animal welfare. We are studying animal behavior to detect disease and pain earlier enough in their lives. This is very, very important so as to take necessary action. Number three, to enhance livestock productivity. We are not just studying the behavior of animals for fun, but to enhance productivity. Number four, to improve housing and management system for the comfort of these animals and to promote conservation of wildlife. Number six, to strengthen human and animal relationship. And lastly, to develop evidence-based welfare policy. The other time we are talking about legislation, whether there are laws for animals welfare. This is classified under to develop evidence-based welfare policies. Then I want to take us through some purposeful specific animal behavior. Animals just don't behave anyhow. There are purposes for such behavior. Like for cow, ruminating. The purpose for ruminating is for efficient digestion, regurgitation, then efficient digestion now come up. And we undergo dust bathing to maintain the condition of the feather and to throw away the parasite that might be hibernating inside their feathers. And you know, pig, they root their floor a lot. We call it rooting. What are they doing? To search for feed. And part of their natural behavior, exploration. Dog back to communicate within themselves and within the animal and humans. When dog is barking, we know something's happening. And also for territorial defense. And goat also browse for feed selection. While sheep, they move together. Sheep are social animals. They don't just move singly, they go together in groups just to protect themselves from predators. Now, animal welfare. We started with ethology, then behavior, now animal welfare. Animal welfare refers to the physical, mental, and emotional state of an animal in relation to the condition in which it lives, grows, works, and dies. It reflects how well an animal is coping with its environment, whether its needs are being met. Animal welfare is the quality of an animal's life, determined by how well its physical, behavioral, and psychological needs are being met. And we can say categorically that an animal is experiencing a good welfare when it exhibiting the following attributes. Number one, healthy condition, free from diseases, when it is well nourished, well fed, when the animal is eating well, and when the animal is feeling comfortable and safe, and also when the animal is able to express normal and natural specific behaviors, species-specific behaviors. And lastly, when an animal is free from unnecessary pain, fear, and distress. You know, we have stress and we have distress. And animal welfare is about the animal's experience. It's about what the animal is experiencing. And these are the questions we ask. Is the animal healthy? Is it free from pain and disease? Is it adequately fed and watered? Is it comfortable? Can it express its natural behavior? Is it frightened or stressed? And is it experiencing positive emotion? Then the components of animal welfare. We have the physical well-being, under which we have good nutrition, good health, freedom from injury and disease, adequate housing. Then we have behavioral well-being, ability to express normal behavior, social interaction among each other, exercise, exploration, and play behavior. Then we have number three, mental well-being. When an animal is free from fear, freedom from distress, comfort, positive emotional experiences, and contentment. Then, as we all know, there are 5 pillars of animal welfare, which I'm going to emphasize now. 1, freedom from hunger and thirst. We have a slogan in animal science that animals must be given feed and water ad libitum. They must be free from hunger and thirst. Number 2, they must be free from discomfort. Number 3, freedom from pain, injury, and diseases. Number 4, freedom to express normal and natural behavior. And number 5, freedom from fears and distress. All these freedoms are very, very important. And we have 5 domains also. The first one is nutrition, physical environment, health domain, behavioral interaction domain, and mental state domain. And the last one, mental state, is being controlled by the first 4. And it is being manifested when the animal is feeling comfortable, confident in itself, and contented with what is available for him, and also resilient. And we have indicators of good animal welfare. So as we are having good animal welfare, we also have poor or bad animal welfare. Indicators of good animal welfare include animals with good normal feeding behavior, active movement, good body nutrition condition, healthy coat or feathers. And we also have normal reproductive performance, social interactions, curiosity and play, calm and responses to human, and low levels of stress. Okay, indicators of poor animal welfare, on the other hand, include weight loss, lameness, injuries, disease, excessive aggression, then repetitive and purposeless behavior, feather pecking or tail biting, poor reproductive performance, fearfulness, and high mortality. Okay? Factors that can affect animal welfare, we have animal factors, we have human factors, and then we have environmental factors. Other animal factors, we have genetics, age species, health status, and physiological condition. Then under environmental condition, we have housing, climate, ventilation, stocking density. This is very, very important. Then nutrition and water availability. Then human factors. How do we handle our animals? Handling techniques, transport, veterinary care, farm management, and slaughter method. You know, we always talk about humane slaughter for our animals. Then the importance of animal welfare, as earlier mentioned, then we have a lot of them. It has productivity to public confidence in animal agriculture. Now, let's now look at the relationship between animal behavior and welfare. Animal behavior is one of the most important reliable for animal welfare. Behavior tells us how an animal feels, and welfare describes the quality of the animal life. For example, a cow that is ruminating is resting comfortably and interacts calmly with its mate is likely experiencing good welfare, while a pig displaying repetitive bar biting or a hen showing severe feather pecking may be experiencing poor welfare due to stress, frustration, or inadequate housing. Thus, behavior serves as a window into animal welfare, making ethology an essential tool for assessing and improving animal welfare. Okay, the relationship between behavior and animal welfare is fundamentally bi-directional. One leads to the other, and the other leads to the first one, interchangeably, like feedback loop. Welfare influences behavior, and behavior provides measurable evidence of welfare. Animals experiencing hunger modify their feeding patterns. Animals in pain reduce movement and social interaction. Animals suffering eat stress, alter their posture, respiration, and water-seeking behavior, while animals experiencing comfort and positive security and positive emotional states display exploration, play, affiliative interaction, and normal reproductive behavior. All these are interwoven. Those behavioral observations allow us to assess not only whether animals survive, but whether they truly thrive. Then there is a question I want us to look at together. How does behavior translate into animal welfare? And the answer lies in what may be described as a behavior welfare continuum. And this is a dynamic and reciprocal relationship in which behavior not only reflects an animal welfare status, but also influences its future health, productivity, resilience, and quality of life. Animal welfare is often misunderstood as merely the absence of disease. No, it's more than that. Or the provision of adequate feed and shelter. No. Why these are indispensable components, welfare encompasses far more. It refers to the physical, mental, and emotional state of an animal as it attempts to cope with conditions in which it lives. Welfare is therefore not simply determined by what humans provide, but by how the animal experiences and responds to those provisions. Okay, farmers, veterinarians, animal scientists, and caregivers, they interpret these behavioral signals and respond with management intervention. It is after assessing the behavior of the animal that they will now know the necessary steps to take. Those interventions in turn modify the environment, leading to a new behavioral responses. Thus, behavior and welfare exist in an ongoing circle interaction rather than as a separate concept. Then, modern welfare science increasingly recognizes that animals are sentient beings because they are capable of experiencing a wide range of emotion. They experience fear, pain, hunger, thirst, discomfort, and they are also capable of experiencing comfort. As they are experiencing the negative side, they can also experience the positive one, like curiosity, comfort, playfulness, pleasure, social bonding, maternal attachment, and environmental exploration. Consequently, contemporary animal welfare aims not only to minimize suffering, but also to create opportunities for positive experiences. Ultimately, the behavioral animal welfare continuum teaches us a simple but transformative lesson. Every behavioral observation is an opportunity to improve welfare, and every welfare improvement creates conditions for healthier and positive behavioral expression. Okay? Let me now quickly go through innovative animal ethology, which I tagged as the catalyst for the future in Africa. If behavior is the language of animals and welfare is the outcome we seek to improve, then innovation is the catalyst that enables us to understand language with greater precision. In the olden days, researchers will spend more days, more time monitoring the behavior of animals very well. But nowadays, things have changed. There are so many technological advancements that has transformed ethology and innovative animal behavior into a new and better system. Like the emergence of precision livestock farming, which involves the use of so many technological devices to monitor animal behavior. For example, we have so many AI-assisted devices that can monitor the behavior of animals. A lot of them, we have optical devices, we have acoustic devices that can monitor the behavior of the animals over a very short or a longer period and give you accurate data without the researcher stressing him or herself. So we have passed the stage of monitoring the animals ourselves. No, we need to step ahead. We need to be innovative. In Nigeria and in Africa, we need to be innovative and step ahead. We have technologies such as accelerometers, pedometers, GPS collars, ruminant sensors, eye rate monitors, temperature loggers, and activity trackers that will generate behavioral information without disturbing the animals themselves. We need to get to this stage. I've mentioned acoustic monitoring and sensors. And we have also the role of big data, generating data on behaviors of animals to predict likely occurrence of such behavior in future. Like in our university, Bowen University, we recently conducted an experiment using acoustic data to generate sound being produced by broiler chicken under condition of a CLD. And we generated that data over 6 weeks and analyzed with algorithm. And we came out with a very big data set, and we have published so many papers on this. And so also, we have monitored the grazing activities of cattle. under semi-intensive production through the use of accelerometers and pedometers and other gadgets. And we need to wake up in Africa. So let me quickly take us through inclusive animal ethology. We need to build our African model. Ethology is not about we scientists alone. It is more than that. We need to reach out and include other people to be part of the work. What am I talking about? We have women which mostly keep livestock in Africa. We are talking about the youth which are actively involved in livestock farming. And we are talking about the less privileged people in the core areas. And we are not talking about domestic animals alone. We are talking about wildlife, aquatic animals. And we need to involve students alone in this work. And we are not limiting it to animal science alone. No, inclusiveness involves reaching out to other arms of knowledge, like sociology, like law, like people in microbiology, people in public health, to work together so that animal ethology can be promoted in Africa. And there are a lot of things ahead of us. I said, where do we go from here in Africa? There are a lot of things for us to do, which I termed as strategies to achieve innovative and inclusive animal ethology in Africa. The first one, we have to reposition animal ethology as a strategic discipline. Many universities in Nigeria and Africa, they are not having animal behavior and animal welfare in their curriculum, which is very, very bad. We need to work on this. Then we need to strengthen research capacity across Africa. We need to harness digital innovation for African livestock system. We need to develop evidence-based animal policies, which is workable. Then we need to invest human capacity development. Researchers, students, extension officers, we need to invest in human capacity development. Then we need to empower farmers, not scientists alone, farmers as partners in innovation. And we need to promote regional and international collaboration like what we are doing now. This program is not for Nigeria alone. It's for all African countries. Then we need to collaborate with each other for possible exchange of ideas. And number 8, we need to mainstream one welfare into Africa development. And lastly, we need to inspire the next generation. The older ones are getting older every day. Let's bring the younger ones up. The state I am now was not the state I was 20 years ago when I started my PhD. And I thank God there are so many younger people coming out in the area of ethology. And I want to conclude this way. Animals continually tell us how they feel, not through words, but through behavior. The true measure of our humanity and the true test of our science lie in whether we are willing to observe, understand, and respond with wisdom, innovation, and compassion. And I believe that as we gather here today and tomorrow, we will come out with something tangible in order to achieve innovative and inclusive ethology. Thank you very much for your attention. I appreciate you all.
You can do better, you can do better, you can roll it, roll it, roll it. Thank you very, very much, Prof, for that wonderful presentation. Well, to some of our students, I think it's a refreshing course for those that have done it last section and for the new section. And I'm just so happy that you brought it this way. Thank you very, very much. So it's time for questions and answers for both online and the physical participants. So maybe we can start with the physical participant. I know you should have questions. It's been a very good section here. So I would like you to give you the privilege to ask questions from Prof about the presentation today. He has really expanded a lot about ethology, you know, linking it to welfare, and that we cannot appropriate welfare without understanding the behavior of our animals. So, any question in the house? Yeah, somebody please, can you come up? You can make it snappy. Thank you. So for our online participant, please start rolling in your questions. Then from the other centers, we would like to also entertain questions.
Good morning, Prof. Good morning. Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Jima Utsman from the University of Ibadan. So my question is, what would make an approach to animal ethology genuinely African, rather than just applying the international framework of ethology that were developed in Europe, North America, and so on and so forth? And, you know, Africa is made up of different culture and different background. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that question. Like I said during my presentation, Africa is very unique, both in our culture and the way we practice livestock production. And we need to own our framework up. Although we cannot do without using the framework at international level to guide ourselves, but we need to adapt to our own culture and our own livestock production system. And that's why we are putting heads together as scientists to come up with something formidable for African framework on ethology. And I believe we will get there. We will get there. God help us.
Thank you very much, Prof. Yeah, we have a question online. It says, how does the animal ethology contribute to the production of wholesome and fit meat production, please? Yeah, that's Samson Kwaye from Ghana.
Contribution of animal ethology to wholesome and...
yeah, fit meat.
Okay, fish.
Fit meat production.
Okay, meat
that
production.
Is wholesome beef production.
Yes. When you understand the behavior of your animals, we know how to handle them and how to manage them in terms of husbandry for better output from these animals. And by virtue of good housing, good environmental condition, enrichment for them, they will be able to eat very well and utilize the feed they have taken to put on meat. Then the productivity will increase. And that product from animals that are well cared are wholesome and very safe to human beings to consume. I believe that ethology contributes a lot.